her loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys, we got 'em on the run. Yes, we are her loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys, we got 'em on the run.
Hey everyone, welcome to the second installment of HLS TV. I'm Molly Moran here with Ryan Ritter, and we are going to be talking about this weekend's amazing win over Michigan. It was not just a win, it was a shutout, and I've never been happier to be wrong because I definitely predicted that the score would be closer. I think a lot of people thought that.
Yeah, I thought it would be a comfortable win. I thought 2 possessions would be about where it was. No way in hell I expected a shutout. That was the last thing on my mind. I had a lot of confidence in the team, but that was just the absolute icing on the cake. The game couldn't have turned out any better beyond, I think, any Notre Dame's fans' wildest expectations.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And we were both at the game, so I imagine it was really cool to watch on TV, but we were there, so I don't know about you, but I'm still pinching myself. I can't believe that even happened. So, did you have a good time? Obviously.
Yeah, I had a blast. I don't know, where were you sitting at the game? Where were your seats located at?
It was, south side of the stadium, facing Touchdown Jesus, kind of like in the, the right corner, kind of by Michigan fan visiting section territory, but I liked it.
Yeah, I was on the opposite corner, so
okay.
It sounds like we were kind of in the same area, thereabouts. But the cool part about that was that, I usually don't say this, that you got to be around the opposing fans because the look on their face was probably more shocked than ours, just like, this is really happening. I can't believe this. And I had one guy next to me. He sat through the whole thing, had a good attitude about it, and was literally cheering for a field goal and mentioned that there was a shutout streak on the line, which further blew my mind. That it's like, yeah, this guy just wants a field goal to not have a complete and total embarrassment right now.
Yeah, there was two Michigans right behind us that were kind of game, but it was the one guy's birthday, and he said he wasn't having a very good birthday, so I apologized and said I was enjoying his birthday. So he didn't stay the whole time though. But he was not very happy.
Yeah,
and then there was one in front of us that was watching live on his phone. So I was kind of like, why'd you pay the $110 to be here? But I don't know. Maybe he wants a jumbotron as badly as some of us do. But he left. So.
I guess he's used to his screen at the big house, so we couldn't go home without it.
Yeah, I was like, okay. So we were all kind of looking over his shoulder like, wait, what was that? What happened?
Well, what did you think about the stadium environment in general? Because I thought it was one of the best crowds I've heard in a long time.
I agree. I thought it was just absolutely electrifying. Our section hardly ever sat down, maybe for a TV timeout, but we were all pretty hype, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I thought the most incredible thing was, I was in a section, we were kind of up and down, but, they were still into it, even up until the fourth quarter, which this really surprised me. Game's well in hand, we got Michigan beat, and they're all getting up to, root for the shutout. We did not want Michigan to score at all, and everybody was completely into it. And it was so refreshing to hear a crowd be like that. And I think the most hilarious moment was, I know some people hate the piped-in music, but as soon as Turn Down for What came in on the speakers, I have never heard a reaction pop so hard, except for maybe Crazy Train once it became a running joke. But people were into that. And, every sack, everything, when the interception happened that got wiped off the board, everybody went nuts, which added to so much confusion in the stadium. I had no idea what the penalty call was until I flew back home, basically.
Right?
I had asked my dad what happened.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, that's why I missed that guy with the live stream going. I was like, where is he when we need him? I'm so confused.
Yeah. But what did you, as Lunch talking about, what do you think about that call?
Now that I've seen it, I don't know. I thought it was kind of, I don't know. I don't know that I agree with it.
Yeah, I'm on the borderline of that. I can see why they called it, I guess.
Right, I agree.
If we're going to have a real loose interpretation of defenseless player and didn't block him from the front, I still think he came, that's a side-to-side block in my opinion. But that's just me. I choose to think of it now as a hilarious last way that Big Ten officials were trying to get back at us, beyond the terrible spots that they had the entire game with Corey Robinson and Koyak, which after watching that, I had no idea it was that close to not being a catch, and I'm still not sure if it was or not, but Fuller's touchdown after that play, I think, made it moot because he
Yeah.
burned that guy. He could have burned him for 40 yards out, and that would have been a touchdown.
Hmm. So obviously it was a shutout, and there's a lot of positive things, but what were you particularly excited about in the game? What were some of your highlights?
The secondary, by far. It
Hmm.
was, and mostly because it was the number one thing I was worried about coming into the game. I was so
Agreed.
terrified of what Michigan and especially Funchess could do. But
Hmm.
man, Cody Riggs had himself a game and a half. Shoemate played awesome.
Hmm.
Redfield got his first career interception. And just everything seemed to be clicking so well. The front seven, they got good pressure. The blitzes were working great. And, I expected Funchess to make plays, and he did. And there were some that Riggs still had defended perfectly right in his face, trying to jump
Hmm.
up, block the ball. But Funchess, just too tall. Riggs can't cover it,
He's
and
a big
made the
guy.
catch. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean that's exactly what you wanted. They didn't get beat deep. They really
Right.
didn't have any laps where they let Gardner run loose. I think there
Hmm.
may have been one or two plays where he got maybe 6 or 8 yards on a
Exactly.
scramble, but it was never anything like what we've seen before to where, Denard Robinson or Gardner would get loose, and all of a sudden, next thing you know,
Hmm.
it's a touchdown. So,
Right, exactly. That was definitely a key, was going to be containing him, and they did that. So,
yeah, what stood out to you? That was the big thing for me.
right. No, I agree because I was definitely worried about that. And anytime I heard Funchess, his name, I was just like, oh no, like because I was definitely worried about him. But um, yeah, I was really, really impressed with the defense secondary, especially, but also Amir Carlisle. Like, not to jump ahead to MVPs or our picks for the game, but I wasn't expecting. I don't know. He just came out of nowhere for me, so I was impressed with him on the offense.
Oh yeah, this
Oh,
was a coming out party for him. I mean, this guy, we had
yeah.
such high expectations for him after he transferred. Then he got
Hmm.
hurt, but even before he got hurt, he really didn't seem to quite have his fit in the offense at
Hmm.
any juncture. So his move to the slot, I was nervous to be honest. I didn't know how the transition would work, but after
Hmm.
seeing what he did, I mean, it was just absolutely incredible. He is such a weapon
Yeah.
out there, and it's because he's got the speed. He's got that home run speed that a good talented running back has. But now that he's developed his pass catching ability and his route running, I mean, the touchdowns he ran, if you go back and break down the plays, I mean, he did everything absolutely perfect, and Golson put it right on him, catches the ball, and he's in great shape after that. Also had an incredible catch out on the sidelines earlier in the game too, so
Yeah.
it was just absolutely awesome to see that. And, when I went and rewatched the game last night, NBC was raving about him. You would think Mike Maycock just found his favorite player, so it was great to see that.
Yeah, I was excited to hear his name a lot because, as I said, it wasn't expected. So it's kind of nice to see those guys break through, and hopefully he can remain consistent and be another weapon for the offense. So that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
and that's what we need, especially when you got you still have all these people suspended right now, and
mhm.
you got Daniels is still on the sidelines right now. But I mean, that's the theme of this year. We needed people to step up and hit a next level. Otherwise, things like this, a shutout against Michigan, aren't going to happen. And as we head later into the schedule against Stanford, Florida State, and USC, that's what's got to continue. Otherwise, it's going to be a really rough when we get to that part of the schedule.
No, I agree. You kind of need that next man in, as they say, and I think we're definitely seeing that. It's only 2 games in, but I mean, with Collinsworth hurt last week, I was watching an interview with Max Redfield, and they were just saying that the safeties were gelling a lot better, and was that because they actually had time to practice with one another, not just get thrown in there? And they said that was definitely part of it, and I think it's great to see that they're kind of filling those voids, and everyone's stepping up, which is what you need. So.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah, and I guess that shows. I didn't even think about that. Which, yeah, I mean, they kind of got thrust in there. Now they're able to, work together. And I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything better for what those safeties did. That was great.
Yeah, it was amazing. So, I mean, there's so much that we could talk about because, I mean, hello, it was basically like the whole game was basically Notre Dame highlights. So, I kind of jumped into it a little bit with Amir Carlisle. I think he's like kind of one of my MVPs. So I don't know if you want to touch on some players that you were impressed with in particular.
I already mentioned Cody Riggs, so that was definitely one.
Hmm.
Amir was definitely another. Everett Golson's an obvious.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna go with. I mean, just in general, the D line, the game they put together, both Jaron Jones and Sheldon Day, I mean, just absolutely tore Michigan apart. and you heard, I had read up from Michigan sites, they were like, okay, yeah, we're worried about the line, not sure what to think against Appalachian State, but we'll see what happens against Notre Dame. And what happened against Notre Dame was just domination. There were some plays where it looked like they couldn't even block Sheldon Day. It was like Lewis Nix had returned up the middle. So, yeah, if I'm going to go with some of those picks, it's got to be those guys up front because they put such a great game together. And, besides the obvious Everett, but, I mean, Everett had one of those, which is, it's weird to say the kind of game he had, it was kind of pedestrian, I guess, in comparison to Rice, but he just, he just had a solid game to where he didn't make mistakes. He took what the defense gave him, and which was interesting that he really, the only shot he took, I think, all game was that pass to Fuller that was a touchdown. Beyond that, I could see there was a couple times we were trying to do some play-action deep shots, but Everett, he looked downfield, saw it wasn't there, just rolled out, threw it away, didn't think twice, didn't even try to go stretch into a run and get killed. So maybe not an MVP performance, but man, it was so great to see Golson. Just, you can see that he has grown up so much. Didn't like the rough start that he had at the beginning. I would like to move past that and get to better play immediately, but he had a great game.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. I was definitely nervous after the first two drives. I just kept reminding myself, well, this is kind of like Rice. They had a little bit of a slow start, and I was like, it'll be okay. And thank God Michigan's kicker sucks because getting a little worried there. But
how is that guy back on campus right now, not catching all kinds of hell? Especially
he had like a bulletproof car. That poor boy. I don't know. I was like, oh my goodness.
He kicked a field goal right into somebody's face mask. I mean, that takes some talent right there. That's just.
I was so shocked. I was just like, did that just happen? Is this a joke? Like, I had no idea what that was, but. I had fun teasing the Michigan fan behind me about it, but no, I agree. Off of that, Everett, I thought he's showing a lot more maturity and just making better decisions because I thought he used to get kind of like happy feet in the pocket and just make some like really quick, dumb decisions, to be honest. And I thought, like you said, it maybe wasn't an MVP performance, but I just thought it was a performance that showed that he definitely understands the game a lot better, or maybe if he doesn't understand it better, he's executing better and using his knowledge in a more mature way.
Yeah, because look at Gardner. I mean, he's a much better player than I think what he showed, and a lot of that had to do with the way Notre Dame played. But you could tell he was pressing in the second half. He's doing exactly like what you were saying. He had happy feet in the pocket. He was never comfortable, and he started making terrible decisions.
Yes.
So, and it was not just interceptions, but he wasn't taking care of the ball. He instead of on his first fumble where he basically hit his own player because he tried to hold on to it, he may have actually been better trying to force a pass because there was a fumble that set him back 13 or 17 yards or something crazy like that. And then when he was scrambling out, I mean, he's holding the ball out, just asking for a fumble, and it happened. So, you can't have, and it's what drove us nuts about, Tommy Rees is when you could tell he was pressing and he was making mistakes, it costs you games. And your quarterback simply can't cost you games. Not every quarterback's going to win games for you. Everett's definitely one of those people, and I think Gardner is too, truth be told. But your quarterback can also lose games for you, and I'm not going to say Gardner's the reason they lost that game. There was all kinds of other reasons why Michigan lost, but he certainly didn't help them win. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. So I don't know. It's like I said, it's hard to figure out where to go or what to talk about next. Is there anything you in particular wanted to bring up? I mean,
I think in general, because we talked a little bit about the environment, but I think one of the coolest moments, mostly because when I could kind of see and get confident that this was going to happen, not necessarily the shutout, but the win. And somewhere in the fourth quarter, I turned the guy next to me and I said, man, if we for 5 minutes just start singing Nana Nana goodbye to these guys, I'm going to dying to heaven and go happy right there. And then all of a sudden I see the student section just starting to wave. I'm like, oh, please tell me they're singing it. Please tell me.
And it happened.
When I finally heard it filter over, I was like, yes.
And it happened for a long time. I was like, how long can we keep this going? I mean, it definitely cycled a good 5-6 times.
Yeah, and if there hadn't been a TV timeout in the middle of it, I wouldn't have been surprised if it lasted the rest of the game. But there was a commercial break, so that kind of killed it. But the moment still happened, so
it was awesome.
Take that away.
You can hear it clearly too. I don't know how it sounded on TV, but oh my gosh, in the state, I was like, oh my gosh,
It sounded good on
Legit.
TV. Trust me, it
Yeah.
sounded.
I
I've
haven't
watched
watched
it.
the whole thing on TV yet, so that's awesome.
And there's also a handful of reporters I saw today. They were posting like vines and videos of the student section singing it.
Really?
Oh, it's just, and because they're right in front of the student section, it's even louder
Hmm.
than you'd expect. So it
Yeah.
was great. That combined with Michigan, even though I was so upset they took the touchdown away at the end of the game, but Michigan being forced to
Mhm.
come back out just so we
Right.
can kneel the ball just has to be, one of the most annoying things. I mean, you've got beaten, you got
That
shut out,
was
you've been
pretty.
embarrassed. Somebody's back there is like,
Yeah.
nope, come back out.
I have to say, I was pretty impressed that they got like the field cleared that quickly too. I'm like, what is happening? And then like for everybody to go back out there. So I don't know. But yeah, okay, question. When did you start getting like greedy and wanting the shutout? Because I definitely started thinking like, could this happen?
Um, Man, that's a good question because I'll be honest, at halftime, even being up 21-0,
Oh, I was
you know,
nervous still.
I mean, it's just the way the series has been, and
Yeah. Well, they had it to start the second half, which I didn't like that
exactly.
decision in the beginning anyway.
Yeah, and even the Michigan fans next to me were like, it's like, well, we're kind of sucking right now, but second half we'll come back, and I can't say no, that won't happen. I've watched 2011. I
Right.
saw the multi-score game comeback happen. So
Mm,
yeah, I think maybe probably towards the end of the third quarter where you could really tell that Gardner was pressing, he was making the mistakes, and I'm like, you know what, maybe
hmm.
back of the head this can happen. And as the fourth quarter progressed, it was definitely like, okay, we have to get the shutout now, absolutely have to
Right.
get it.
That's
And
definitely how we like my whole section was getting that way too. Because at first we weren't greedy. We're like, no, this is fine. Then we're like, wait, no,
yeah,
stop
especially
them.
and especially now knowing, I'm kind of glad I didn't know then, because then maybe I would have been more greedy and more anxious had I known about the shutout streak and
Hmm.
that we had never shut them out. I mean, those are things, mostly because I didn't even think of it as a possibility, it didn't enter my mind. And I'm not
Right.
like I'm not at home, so I can't look up. It's like, when's the last time Michigan got shut out by Notre Dame or
Yeah,
anything like that?
exactly.
So yeah, that was great. I mean, the whole atmosphere. I had a huge smile on my face. I mean, the entire weekend. I was hungover as all hell the next day.
You
Didn't
did it
even
right.
care. Tired. Didn't care. Like slept. I barely slept at all. The entire weekend, even last night. But all worth it. All completely worth it.
Yeah. I mean, the campus in general, just the whole like weekend. I got there on Friday, but it just there was definitely something in the air. I'd never been to a Notre Dame game. This was only my fifth, and I'd never really been to a game like where they played like a big like rival. You're like I've always been to like Navy. Navy's very respectful. Their fans aren't going to be saying things, so it was just like a really different atmosphere to be around. And yeah, after the game was pretty cool too to be walking around campus and hear all the like all the students like really excited and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, if I could compare it to anything, maybe 2005 when we played USC, and that's back when I was a student manager. So I mean, I was on the sidelines, ears ringing. The crowd was so loud.
Yeah.
You know, but this was a much better result. But that's the kind of
Mhm.
feel that it had. It was just this, a stupid cliche, but a big fight feel to it.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted this win so bad. When the
Hmm.
white server started, it was like, no, we really haven't proven anything until we beat USC. And for this game, I mean, for a lot of people, this was the season right here.
Hmm.
It's weird to say the second game in, but we did not want to be, especially after being the team that canceled the series, scheduling Ohio State. We had done all these things. We're like, okay, we're going to get vengeance on you. It had to happen this game because otherwise,
Hmm.
all of that, Michigan's got bragging rights for like 10, 15, 20 years maybe. It's like, oh
I
yeah,
know.
you did all that, and we still kicked your butt.
I
So
know. And I like can't even let my mind go to like what it would have been like had we lost. Doesn't matter because we didn't, but oh my gosh, that would have been terrible. And I
we
was
even
thinking that like
mentioned
the whole day, like I was so nervous.
Yeah, we even mentioned that last week when we went off the air. That it's like, oh God, help us if we lose to Michigan. We cannot like have a depressed recording our second
I
episode
know.
in.
What would we have said? Like I don't. That would have been terrible. I'm so glad that it's the complete opposite. Probably just would have cried.
Yeah, it would have been painful.
Yes, it would have been very painful. Um, okay, so you're kind of saying how it's only the second game, and that game was kind of like this season for us in a sense. There is definitely already talk about, kind of Everett Golson, Heisman, things like that, and this team's really special. Obviously, it's kind of you don't want to jump to too many conclusions, but what do you feel about this team just based off these first two games and Everett, his performance?
I think right now, I mean, I think we're a good team. I really believe deep down we're a good team, and that may be a little bit of homer and a little bit of bias talking, but I think this team's really good. I mean, they played with the serious chip on their shoulder. When we were watching the game, you saw these guys just oozing confidence. Weiss always talked about having a nasty team. This team was nasty, talking trash, laying big hits down. They were in Michigan's face. They were going to let them know they were there. So they had the attitude of a winner. Now, we got a long way to go, and I think all these are very much possibilities. I think they're very I don't know how realistic they are as of yet, but I also don't think it's a bad thing to start thinking about it, because if we keep progressing at this pace, we're definitely going to be in the playoff conversation. We're almost in the top 10 in both polls. And, yeah, if Everett keeps playing like this, the stats he's going to compile are going to be Heisman quality. So I say go for it. Have that confidence, but have a realistic outlook that our toughest tests are yet to come, because we really don't know how good this Michigan team is. And I tell you what, if they play like they did this past week against us, they are going to be in for a rough time, because they have Michigan State on the road. They have Ohio State, I believe, as well on the road, and they actually put up a stat. Hoke is 0-5 against ranked teams on the road. Not good for the rest of your Big Ten schedule coming up.
Not good at all.
Yeah, so
Big Ten in general isn't looking too good.
Yeah, this win could look a lot different in a few weeks. But I mean, for now, hey, you should be sky high. Like, be absolutely incredibly pumped about this. So, I mean, yeah, I'm trying to say there's realistic expectations, but to hell with it. We just beat Michigan.
I know,
really
I agree.
27-0, but
yeah. I know I try to temper things to remind myself, hey, it's only the second game, but I mean, I don't know. They've already kind of blown my expectations out of the water, because I don't know. I've always tried to be more realistic toward the beginning of the season. Like, we'll see how this goes, and now I'm 2 games in, oh my God, we're going all the way, and I'm no, it's okay.
Yeah, I even saw talk on the forum to where they were saying, somebody asked, when's the last time we had 2 games in a row where we won by 30 points or more? And the reply, I believe, if I remember, was 1996 with Holtz or something like that. I forget the exact year, but bottom line is it's been a while. And here's the crazy part. We're going into Purdue. I guess we're kind of transitioning into next week, but that's a terrible team.
Yeah.
So, and I can't even believe I'm about to say this. Could we see 3 weeks in a row of 30-plus point victories? Syracuse isn't looking good either. 4 weeks in a row?
I mean, it's a possibility.
And that's one thing we've been, we have really wanted from this team, is that, beat the bad teams, but make it convincing. It doesn't have to be close. Kick their butts, blow them out, get those style points. This team's doing it. They could have definitely, gone into a shell even before it went 21-0. I mean, there was no reason Notre Dame had to score by the end of the half. They could have just run the ball out and gone to the locker room up 14-0, probably been thrilled. But no, they went right after them, got the 21 points, and really, I think that's where, I mean, you completely deflate your opponent. And you could tell whatever. I have no idea what they did at the half as far as Michigan's concerned, but it was definitely in their heads like, we're beat. They came out a beaten team in the second half.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you said it perfectly when you said it before. They're nasty, in the way that you need them to be. You need a team that wants to be up in the other team's face. And I think they're really playing for each other. I really see, when I watch interviews and I hear the guys mention each other, they're happy for one another. They really play for the guy next to them, and I think that shows.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So, I mean, we kind of talked about next week. I know you're going there, so
yeah,
I mean,
I'm excited.
Yeah, so I mean, God, can we really preview Purdue? I mean, we kind of dump all over them as it is on HLS.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what's there to preview.
They're 1-1. They beat
in the nicest way.
Yeah, they beat a terrible team to start the season. They're not good. They bottom feeder of the Big Ten. I mean, I don't know what else to say about them, really.
Yeah. I'm hoping for the beating them by at least 30 points thing. I'm getting greedy. That could be a shutout too. I mean, I'm just going to throw it out there. I want this to be fun.
Well, if Rice is better than 2 Big Ten teams by actually scoring us, that may make me laugh, all the way up until we.
Yeah. At the end of the Michigan game, I was kind of like, wait, we didn't shut out Rice though. What is this?
Hey, get up for the bigger game. Everybody always gets up for us, so it's good to see us, raise our level for somebody.
Yep.
All right. Well, I mean, God, what else we got? I think we
just like a happiness, pure elation.
People are going to be watching this episode and being like, they're all over the place. It's because we're so freaking giddy. We don't know how to handle things like this.
What to focus on.
And I couldn't focus at work today at all. I just absolutely could not focus at work because there was too much hilarity going on. With people still making fun of Michigan, everybody's back from the weekend because it felt like every Notre Dame fan, tried to get out there, tickets or not, if they, especially if they were in driving distance, because that was a huge tailgating crowd, absolutely huge. It was insane.
It was.
So crazy. It was great, and I can't wait. I'm kind of glad it's a night game too. I know night games kind of get on people, but that way I can kind of take everything in, and it feels like more eyes, even though it'll be Purdue. I think week 3, I need to take a look at the slate, but I don't think there's too many huge matchups off the top of my head. So
the other thing is now I think Notre Dame is in the conversation, so I think people are interested to see, to watch them.
It's a primetime game, so you might as well, take a look. And I think people are wanting to see Everett Golson, too. I mean, he keeps playing like that. People are going to want to see a dynamic player like that. So I'm excited. Yeah, and I hope we win by 30-plus again and just stomp Purdue. That'd be great. That'd be an amazing 3-0 start.
I know. I'm so excited. This is going to be like all over the place, but I don't know. Just happy.
We never promised this was going to completely make sense every single time. We just said we're going to film something. Yeah, we'll put it in a digestible amount of time, but if
but it's just going to be.
If we're this happy, it's going to be like this. Which I hope everybody's just watching this smiling like, we kicked Michigan's ass. Yes.
I mean, we could have just said that the whole time, and
we kind of have. So
totally entertaining. But so we kick the shit out of Michigan. We have bragging rights for years and years to come, and we're probably going to kick Purdue's ass. So that'll be great. We can have another one of these awesome conversations come next week.
I hope so. I mean, I'm just saying we are undefeated since HLS TV debuted. Just saying.
Look at that.
Now I've jinxed it. All right.
Good one. We all know who to blame. Not me.
It's usually me. So I mean.
God, but so yes, I'm like doing the 48-hour rule or whatever, the 72-hour rule. I'm so excited about this victory still.
However hours are in a week, that's the rule for this week.
Yes, totally.
The team gets the 24-hour rule. We get to enjoy this one a bit longer.
Yes, it was amazing. So I don't know. I mean, that's what I got.
I'm good with that too. I think we wrapped this up beautifully.
Yeah. So until next time, go Irish.
Go Irish.
Sounds good.
Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you